This is questions 1, 5, 7, 10, 12 and 16 in exercise 7.5 in Project Maths 1. We have to solve each of the following equations. And each of these equations is going to be made up of fractions, as you can see from the two examples on screen at the moment. And what we're going to need to do first in order to solve them is to get rid of the fractions, because it's going to be way more difficult to solve them otherwise. So what we're going to do is we're going to first of all find the lowest common multiple between the denominators in our fractions, the numbers on the bottom. So for question 1 here, our LCM of 2 and 3 is going to be equal to 6. Right, so that's the first thing we're going to do. Now what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite our equation. We're going to put everything that's on top of the brackets, or on top of the fraction in brackets, like this. 5, like so. And now what we're going to do is we're going to multiply every single term in the equation by our lowest common multiple. So it's going to be 6 times x all over 2 plus 6 times x all over 3 is equal to 6 times 5 all over 2, like that. And now our next step is to divide that 6 that we've put on top of each of these fractions by the number on the bottom. So 6 divided by 2 is 3, so we get left with 3 times x, like that. And it's going to be plus, and then 6 divided by 3 is 2, so we have 2 times x, like so. And then for the last one, 6 divided by 2 is 3, so we end up with 3 times 5. Now we multiply everything out, we get 3x plus 2x is equal to 15. And we add what we have on the left, we get 5x is equal to 15. And then our last step is just trying to get x on its own, because that's what happens when we solve an equation. We get a value for x in the end. So on the left of this equation we have x multiplied by 5. We're going to bring that multiplied by 5 across the equals, and it's going to become divided by 5. So our next line down is going to be x equals 15 divided by 5, which means for question 1, x is going to be equal to 3, like that. Let's take a look at question 5. We're going to follow the exact same pattern. This time we've got a minus in the middle of them, and we've got slightly different numbers, but we're going to see how this works out. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the lowest common multiple of 2, 5, and 10, and that is going to be equal to 10. Then we're going to rewrite our sum with all the terms that are on top of our fractions in brackets. So x in brackets all over 2 minus x in brackets all over 5 is equal to 3 in brackets all over 10. And now we're going to multiply every single term in our equation by the lowest common multiple of the numbers on the bottom, which is 10. So we end up with 10 times x all over 2 minus 10 times x all over 5 is equal to 10 times 3 all over 10, like that. Now we're going to divide that 10 by the numbers on the bottom. So 10 divided by 2 is 5, so we get 5 times x. And then 10 divided by 5 is 2, so we get minus 2 times x. And then 10 divided by 10 is 1, so we get 1 times 3. If we multiply these out, we're going to get 5x minus 2x is equal to 3, which means that 3x is equal to 3. And now we're going to take our multiply by 3 from the left and bring it across. It's going to become divide by 3. So we get x equals 3 divided by 3. So for this question, x is going to be equal to 1. So that's the basics of dealing with fractions. Now we're going to look at slightly more difficult ones in the next pair. So this time, instead of just having an x on top of our fractions, we're going to have a 2x over here, and in question 10 we're going to have a 4x. But the process remains the same. So the first thing we're going to do for question 7 here is we're going to find the lowest common multiple of the numbers on the bottom. So that's 5, 3, and 15. The lowest common multiple is going to be 15. Then we rewrite our equation with everything on top in brackets. So we get 2x in brackets all over 5 plus x in brackets all over 3 is equal to 22 in brackets all over 15. And now we're going to multiply each of those terms by the lowest common multiple that we found before, by 15. So it's going to be 15 times 2x all over 5 plus 15 times x all over 3 is equal to 15 times 22 all over 15, like that. Now we divide this 15 that we have on top of all our fractions by the number on the bottom. So 15 divided by 5 is 3, so we get 3 times 2x plus, and then 15 divided by 3 is 5, so we get 5 times x is equal to, and then 15 divided by 15 is 1, so we get 1 times 22, like that. Now we multiply out all the brackets. 3 times 2x is 6x, 5 times x is 5x, and 1 times 22 is 22. We add up what we have on the left. 6x plus 5x is 11x. That's 11x equals 22. And then we want to get x on its own, so we're going to take this, multiply by 11, and bring it across the equals, and it's going to become divide by 11. So we get x equals 22 divided by 11. So x is equal to 2 in this case. So that's question 7 solved. Now we look to question 10. Same process as before. Nothing new here yet. We've got our lowest common multiple between 9, 2 and 3, and that's going to be 18. So we rewrite our equation to start with. So we get 4x in brackets all over 9 minus x in brackets all over 2 equals 2 in brackets all over 3. Now we're going to multiply each of them by 18. We've got 18 times 4x all over 9 minus 18 times x all over 2 is equal to 18 times 2 all over 3, like so. Now we divide that 18 on the top of each of the fractions by the number that's on the bottom. So 18 divided by 9 is 2, so we get 2 times 4x, minus, then 18 divided by 2 is 9, so we get 9 times x, like that. And that is equal to, and we have 18 divided by 3 is 6, so 6 times 2, like so. 2 times 4x is 8x, minus 9 times x is minus 9x, and 6 times 2 is 12. 8x minus 9x is equal to minus 1x, and that's equal to 12. And then from here we're going to take our multiply by minus 1 that we have on the left, and we're going to bring it across the equals. It's going to become divide by minus 1. So we get x equals 12 divided by minus 1, which means x is equal to minus 12, like that. So that's question 7 and 10. And the last two that we're going to look at are slightly different again. With these two, we've got whole expressions on the top of each of the fractions, not just a single term. It's the same process as before. We have to make sure that we're careful when we're multiplying out our brackets this time. So start with question 12. Same thing as before. We need the lowest common multiple of 3, 4, and 6. That's going to be 12. So we rewrite our equation to start with everything that's on the top of each fraction in brackets. Like that. And now we're going to multiply each term in our equation by the lowest common multiple that we have, so by 12. So 12 times x plus 4 all over 3 is equal to 12 times x plus 1 all over 4 plus 12 times 1 all over 6. And now the 12 that's on top of each of our fractions is going to get divided by the number that's on the bottom of each of the fractions. So 12 divided by 3 is 4, so we have 4 times x plus 4. That's going to be equal to 12 divided by 4 is 3, so we've got 3 times x plus 1 plus, and then 12 divided by 6 is 2, so 2 times 1. And now we've got to multiply out our brackets. So remember that the number that's outside each bracket has to be multiplied by every term that's inside the bracket. So for this one on the left of the equals, we got 4 times x is 4x, and 4 times 4 is 16. And then the next one we've got 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times 1 is 3, and then 2 times 1 is just 2. Something like that. And now in order to solve this, we need to get all of our x's to the left and all of our numbers to the right. So we're going to bring our 3x over, so we get 4x minus 3x, and it's going to be equal to 3 plus 2 minus 16, like that. Which means on the left hand side, we're just going to get x, and on the right hand side, we have 3 plus 2 is 5, and 5 minus 16 is equal to minus 11. So x is equal to minus 11, like that. So that's the solution to question 12. And question 16 is going to be very similar, only this time we've got a couple of minuses involved that we need to be careful of. So first things first, we get our lowest common multiple of the numbers that are on the bottom. That's 7, 3, and 21. The lowest common multiple is going to be 21. And then we're going to have to multiply, we're going to rewrite each term with the top of the fractions in brackets. So we've got x minus 8 in brackets, all over 7, plus x minus 3 in brackets, all over 3, minus 5 in brackets, all over 21, and that is going to be equal to 0. Now we're going to multiply every single term in this by 21. So it's going to be 21 times x minus 8, all over 7, plus 21 times x minus 3, all over 3, minus 21 times 5, all over 21, is equal to 21 times 0. Like that. Now we're going to divide these 21 that's on top of our fractions by the number that's on the bottom. So 21 divided by 7 is 3. So we have 3 times x minus 8, plus, then we have 21 divided by 3 is 7. So it's 7 times x minus 3. And then minus, and then 21 divided by 21 is 1. So 1 times 5. And on the right hand side of the equals, 21 times 0 is just 0. Now we're going to multiply out our brackets. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times minus 8 is minus 24. 7 times x is 7x. 7 times minus 3 is going to be minus 21. And then minus 1 times 5 is going to be minus 5. And that's all equal to 0. Now what we're going to do is we're going to tidy up what we can tidy up from this. So 3x plus 7x, that's equal to 10x. Minus 24 minus 21 is going to be equal to minus 45. And minus 45 minus 5 is going to be equal to minus 50, like that. And that's still equal to 0. And then from here we're going to bring our minus 50 across because we need to get our x on its own on the left. So we're going to get 10x is equal to 50 because it changes from minus 50 to plus 50 when we bring it across the equals. And now we're going to take this multiply by 10 from the left and bring it across the other side, and it's going to become a divide by 10. So we get x equals 50 divided by 10, which means x is going to be equal to 5, like that. And that is that.